Does cardio kill your gains? That's what many gym bros all over the world are going to tell you. They're going to say that if you do cardio, say goodbye to all your muscle. So in this video, I want to clarify whether or not that's actually true, explain some misconceptions, and offer you some nice alternatives in being able to do cardio safely. So let's break this down. First of all, when you complete a cardio session, you don't burn off muscle. Rather, you deplete the muscle glycogen. On top of that, you will lose a lot of water because you sweat like crazy. So the result is that you will not appear as full when you're done a cardio session. Your clothes might be a little bit more loose on you, and you might look a little bit less stacked. But it's not because you burnt off muscle. It's just a loss of water weight, loss of bloat, and then the muscle glycogen is a little bit depleted. But here's the thing, right? The moment you re-eat those lost calories, it's going to come right back. The moment you hydrate yourself, the moment you have food that is high in carbohydrates, your muscle glycogen storage is going to fill up, and your water weight is going to come back. And now you're going to look nice and full and muscular. So cardio didn't burn off any muscle. It's just a temporary thing that you get from doing a session. So that said, where does this myth really come from? Well, you see, it has to do with cutting. When guys enter a calorie deficit, typically the hardest challenge is keeping your muscle mass. Like, you're actually going to lose muscle mass when you do a cut for a long period of time. You're going to lose a little bit, even if you slow cut. It's bound to happen at some point, right? And the thing is, when people cut, they also tend to do cardio. So that said, they make the false correlation between cardio and burning muscle mass. But you see, it's not the fact that the cardio is burning off your mass. It's the fact that you're in a deficit and you are going to lose muscle inevitably. There's nothing you can do about it. So that's where guys get this idea. They're thinking that it's the cardio that killed their gains, when in fact it's the calorie deficit. On top of that, some people don't actually calculate how intense the cardio is. So they're burning so many calories and they don't re-eat those calories. So the deficit that they're in is more than 20%. And when you do extreme dieting protocols, when you do major cuts like that, huge deficits, you're going to end up losing more muscle mass. So that's where it comes from. Guys are doing so much cardio, an excessive amount of cardio, that they're exceeding the 20% deficit, and now they're losing muscle mass. But it's not because of the cardio, it's just because their diet is not on point. They're in too much of a deficit, and now they're just blaming the cardio. You see the problem here? And I can prove what I'm saying very easily. Because if you go on a calorie surplus while still doing cardio, you're not going to burn off any muscle mass. Rather, you're just going to get bigger and bigger. So you see, it's not cardiovascular activity. Cardio does not burn muscle. It's the fact that guys are not re-eating the lost calories, and it's putting them in a great deficit. Because, like I said, you can easily bulk while doing cardio. Imagine if you're having 6,000 calories a day, hypothetically speaking, but you're also doing a lot of cardio. You're burning 1,000 calories per session, right? So net, you're at about 5,000. You think you're going to burn off your muscle doing that? Not really. It's not going to work like that. So then, why do people still believe cardio burns off your muscle? Well, there's other factors to consider too, such as stressing your recovery. And that is pretty much the only thing you have to consider when talking about cardiovascular activity, because cardio could impede your recovery to do heavy lifting. Here's an example. If you're doing a lot of running, long distance running in particular, your knees might start hurting, your ankles might start hurting, your shins might start hurting. You might have some hamstring pains as well. The result is that when you go do some squats, some lunges, any posture chain exercise, you're going to feel your joints hurting you. So that's an example in which cardio can hinder your gains, because if the cardiovascular activity is destroying your joints, then it means that your lifting sessions are going to be subpar. And if your lifting sessions are subpar, you might lose some muscle mass, or your gains might not be as optimal. So that is when cardio becomes a problem, when it impedes your ability to recover. And the same thing goes for HIIT. High-intensity interval training involves many of the adaptations found from weight training. So if you're doing both in the same session, you're impeding your recovery to a large extent. That's why you should do it on a separate day if you're going to be doing that type of activity, or manage your volume intensity such that it does not impede recovery, right? And that's another thing too with the HIIT. There's a lot of jumping involved. That can be stressful on the knees, So it's not that cardio is burning off muscle. Rather, it is stressing your recovery even further on top of the weight training, which makes you have subpar sessions when you lift, all right? When talking about weight training, we can use concurrent periodization, which is a volume day and an intensity day. Well, guess what? Cardio can also be part of that equation. So you can easily go in and do some intensity weight training, and on your off day, you're doing some endurance cardio, right? Because you're still managing volume intensity. You can also do high volume weights, high intensity cardio. Both those systems work. And I think that's one of the main reasons why a lot of guys who do both, who do cardio and weights, they do concurrent periodization, or like the conjugate system. That's what they're going to run. And a great example would be Alex Viada from Complete Human Performance. I believe he competes in powerlifting at an elite level, and he also does marathons and things of that nature. And he's also very well versed in exercise science, and he posts a lot of good stuff on his site. So check that out. So you can absolutely combine both. You can absolutely do endurance training and very high intensity weight training. You just have to manage volume and intensity in a really good way. And the best way so far seems to be concurrent periodization, which makes perfect sense because with weight training, we can have a volume day and intensity day. So if we know that to be true, then obviously you could combine cardio into that equation as well. So even when we look at the science side of things, like back then, we thought that it was either you're going to be good at weights or good at cardio. There was no in-betweens, right? Well, now with concurrent and with exercise science emerging, we're starting to see that you can actually have both. You might not be the best in one or the other, but you're still going to have really good performance in both fields. So cardio doesn't kill your gains, okay? You can actually include it in your weight training. And then as a final way to end off this video, I want to talk about work capacity benefits, right? You see a lot of gym bros have no cardiovascular fitness whatsoever. They're completely unfit. If they go up a flight of stairs, they're like, they're out of breath. They're out of breath going up a flight of stairs. What do you think that does when you go to the gym and you're doing a heavy set of squats? It'll cause you to take longer rest intervals. It'll cause you to stall before your 10th rep. By rep 5, you're huffing and puffing. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is like a freaking challenge, not because of your leg strength, but because you're not fit whatsoever. So cardio can actually make you more fit, which will increase your work capacity. And as a natural guy, the most important thing you have is your work capacity. If you could raise volume over time, if you could become more fit over time, if you can handle more workload in a given session, you're going to unlock your true potential. And I think that's why former athletes do so well when they start doing powerlifting and bodybuilding, because they have a foundation. They have the work capacity already down. Same thing for me. When I used to do calisthenics before I started weight training, that included like very high volume calisthenics and lots of endurance cardio. So when I started doing weights, the work capacity was always there. I just had to refine my technique with the weights and get it all down. So work capacity is extremely important, and cardio can give you the thing that you're looking for. Like it's not going to kill off your gains. It can actually enhance your gains, provided that you re-eat the lost calories, provided that it does not impede your ability to recover. It can only enhance you. It will only enhance you by improving your overall fitness level and making it easier to go through those weight training sessions, especially if you're a volume guy. If you do a lot of volume, cardio will assist you greatly. And then, of course, there's certain activities, certain types of cardio that are so strenuous in the body that it builds crazy, crazy work capacity. Great example, boxing training, kickboxing training. Trust me, guys, it's very... If you do a lot of boxing, then I have you go do a volume workout, it's a joke. Like, boxing training is so fucking intense, right? That's one example right there. Swimming uses every muscle in the entire body. It's like, it's crazy. Swimming is so hard, especially if you're a bigger guy and you try swimming for long periods of time. You will be gassed out in like 20 minutes. It is very, very difficult. But guess what? Swimming does not impede your recovery because there's no stress in the joints. So what you're getting is like a total body developer, a work capacity developer as well. So you see what I'm trying to say here? Cardio will only benefit you if it does not impede your ability to recover. It will enhance your work capacity to such a large extent that when you lift, you feel like Superman. So on the contrary, no, cardio does not kill your gains. It will actually make you a better lifter. So I do recommend that all you do some type of cardio. And you know what? Let's assume that it did kill your gains a little bit, 5%. I would still do the cardio for the basic fact that it helps your health. Health is the most important thing you have. That's why you should stay away from roids. That's why you should stay away from drugs. That's why you should eat clean. Health is all you got in this world. So cardio is going to benefit you greatly. I recommend you do at least 20 to 9 minutes a day, low intensity. Don't stress about it too much, and you can have the best health possible, because that's what it's all about. It's about longevity. It's not about being a race car and you burn out. You want to be in this for the long term, okay? You want to take care of your body. It's very important. So I think that even if it did burn muscle, it should still be done in your training. So that's it for today's video. I hope you learned something or two about cardio. Again, it doesn't burn off your muscle. You deplete your glycogen. You burn off some more calories, which makes it easier to go in a large deficit. And it might stress your joints a little bit. So as long as you take the necessary precautions in avoiding those problems and you develop further work capacity from doing the cardio, I think it'll only benefit you in a major way. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this. Give me feedback down below, and I will talk to you all next time.